Let me show you how to quit your JOB, your just over broke job, and create generational wealth so that you can pass it down to your kids. Not only will it actually affect you to make your life better, but it would also affect your kids, your great grandkids, and so on and so forth. You can literally pass this down. And this is the key to being wealthy. This is what all the wealthy people of the world know that us, regular people, everyday people, don't. And I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, generational wealth and what it is, it's basically an asset or assets, things that you can pass down to your children and their children and so on and so forth. But it also is something not just passed down like, I have a lamp, let me pass this lamp down to my kids. No, it's not that. It's an asset. If you guys remember what good debt and bad debt is, good debt puts money in your pocket, and that's an asset. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket, that's a liability. I know big words, liability, asset, but what it boils down to, an asset puts money into your pocket. If you buy something that puts money in your pocket, that's an asset. It is wealth for you that you can then have generational wealth and pass that generational wealth down to your kids, and they can continue to do that, so on and so forth. It's going to be beautiful. Now, let me give you some key criteria of what good generational wealth is. Number one, it creates passive income for you. It creates money for you. It makes you money, like if you buy a real estate rental property. If you buy a rental property that makes you money and passive income every month, you can then pass that down to your kids. But that money that you make every single month, that's passive income. You don't work and you still make money. Another one would be stocks. Stocks might be making you money in dividends or something like that. That's generational wealth. You can pass that down to your kids. Now, another key criteria is that you can literally pass it to your kids. There are certain things you can't pass down to your kids, or that you probably wouldn't, like a car. You buy a fancy car, well, in 10 years from now, it'll be worth less than it is now. 20 years, it'll be worth less, and then 50 years, it'll probably be worth or, fall apart. Those things you can't pass down. Your job you can't pass down. You want to have an asset that you can literally pass to your kids and their grandkids. That's another aspect of generational wealth. And another great thing about generational wealth, it's an asset that appreciates over time, or it gets more value over time. Like if you buy gold and pass that down to your kids, if you have, like I said, a real estate rental property, that gets value growing over time. If you have a house that you live in and you want to pass it to your kids, that's generational wealth because it appreciates over time. Now, I also want to show you what is not generational wealth. Before I get into how you can do it and how you can build it and actually pass it down to your kids, what is not generational wealth? Number one, your job is not generational wealth. You know that your boss would not just hire your kid just out of the blue. No, they have to prove themselves and they have to actually apply and then actually get hired. You cannot pass down your job. Your car is not generational wealth because it'll eventually depreciate in value. It's not making money. And eventually the kids are like, I'm going to buy my own car, Dad. That's not what I want. And so a car is not generational wealth. Another one, money. Physical money is not generational wealth. It's wealth. Don't get me wrong. It's money. You pass that down. It's not generational wealth. And the reason why, if you pass that down to your kids, unless you have like literally $100 million, if you just pass down maybe just $1 million, that $1 million will be gone eventually. You want to have generational wealth that sticks around for a long time. If you have $10 million, that would potentially stick around for a long time. With interest and everything, the kids would be able to live off that. But eventually, it probably will go away. They start dipping into it. Now, if you have something that is substantial, like real estate or stocks or a business, something that has value in itself that makes money, that's generational wealth. Now, as you are building up your generational wealth, which I will get into in just a second on what type of generational wealth you can build, how to do it, and all that sort of stuff, you might be thinking, well, how do I literally pass that down to my kids? Number one, it could be annual gifts. An annual gift would be something that you would be able to give to your children, and always check with your accountant on what is the total amount. I think right now it's like $14,000 you can pass down to every single kid tax-free. So let's say your kid's 5 years old now. If you have the means to give them $14,000 1 year, in 5 years, they'll have $14,000 times 5. I'm not a good math person, but that's come to about $70,000. If you can give them $70,000 over 5 years and not be taxed on it, wouldn't that be phenomenal for them? But that's not necessarily generational wealth. Generational wealth would be something that you could actually give them. but an annual gift is a great way to do it. Another one is direct payments, like direct payments to your children. If you have a business and you hire them in, that's also another way to transfer that generational wealth to them. And one that I love, the one that I use with all of I literally have 30 plus rental properties, and I don't sell them. I hold on to them because that's how we feed our family. We live off the passive income. I'm literally giving those to my kids, but the way that I do it is through family trusts. We have a family trust, a living trust, that we're the trustees of it. And then when we die, the beneficiaries will be the kids. They'll take over and they get our properties. They get every bit of our assets. So if you're going to be doing generational wealth and you actually have great assets, put it in a trust. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take that as legal advice. Talk to your lawyer. I talk to my lawyers, and this is what they tell me I'm doing. So I'm letting them do the work. I'm just relaying to you what they're doing. You talk to your own accountant, your own lawyer. The best generational wealth that you can pass down are a number of things, but I'm going to start with the most basic one. This is not necessarily going to make them money, but it's coming from you. Knowledge. If you pass down knowledge of a business, of how to do work, how to manage money right, pass them knowledge down to them, they're going to be so much wiser from all your wisdom. Now, I and actually more my wife, we homeschool our kids. So if you see our 4 kids right there, we homeschool our kids. All 4 of our kids, they are homeschooled, but I also teach them how to make money, how to buy properties, how to invest. And that's the big thing is I don't want to rely on somebody else to teach my kids what I know I should be teaching them. Now, at the same time, I know I could teach my kids so much better how to make money, how to provide for the family, how to, basically do everything. So I'm teaching them that. Now, teaching them knowledge is one of the best things you can teach them. And another great generational wealth is building a business. Building a business that you can literally pass down to your kids. Now, it could be a brick and mortar business, like an actual physical location, but let me give you an example of a small one. Let's say you created a website that generates traffic. It has Google AdSense, or it creates ads on that website. You literally can pass that down to your kids. That website is now theirs. It's your business now passed down to them. So think of businesses that you can create. And as you create these businesses, think about how eventually you can pass these down to your kids. Now, I also have another YouTube channel and a podcast called Successfully Unemployed, because not everybody wants real estate, but there are so many ways to quit your job, to be successfully unemployed, to have generational wealth, and building businesses is one of them. So check out my show, Successfully Unemployed Show. Go into any podcast app or go to YouTube and type in Successfully Unemployed. You'll find that I've interviewed so many great entrepreneurs, so many great people who have already become successfully unemployed, to figure out a way for you to create a business to pass that down to your kids in generational wealth. And one that is so near and dear to my heart is real estate investing. I currently own 30 plus properties that make me money in passive income. Plus, I will literally pass that down to my kids. That is generational wealth because it creates passive income, it appreciates over time, and I can pass it down to my kids. Another one that would be for just about every single person, if you buy a house, look to give that to your kids. If you buy a house to live in, it's your home. You've lived in there for 20, 30, 40 years, or even just 10 years. When you start having kids, think of how can I pass this down to my kids? Because that's the ultimate goal, is to leave our kids better off than when we started. So if you buy a house and you live in it, think of how you can pass it down to your kids. Now, company stocks are another great way of generational wealth, especially if it gives dividends. If it gives dividends, that's, every quarter you're getting money from the income that the company makes. That's a dividend. Now, that puts money in your pocket. You get paid that. You could then take those shares and pass those to your kids as well, because you're owning part of a business. Remember, if you start your own business, that's a business you can pass to your kids. Now, if you own stock in a business, that stock is still ownership in a business. Pass that to your kids. You can do that as well. And an easy one, a good side hustle, if you want to get started in generational wealth, is to actually create an online business. Online businesses are so easy. In fact, you can start an Etsy. Etsy is like where they sell crafts and stuff. You can start an Etsy account or even an eBay account and start making money, creating a business out of that. You can create a website that has traffic. You can create a podcast that gets sponsorships. You can even, and here's another one, create a YouTube channel. Create a YouTube channel and actually put your kids on there with you. Put your kids on there with you, and as you're building your channel, they will eventually take over, or you can say, hey guys, watch this kid's channel, or watch this kid's channel, or watch this kid's channel, whichever one. You say, watch this channel, and then they'll branch off and start building up their channel. I'll give you an example of what I'm literally doing. My wife and I, we read our kids' books all the time. We even read them the Bible. I literally read them the Bible every single night, at least one chapter, every single night. Ever since my oldest is 12, she was literally 2.5 to 3 years old when we started reading the Bible. We also read them other books. We are literally recording those times that we're reading to our kids. We're calling it family reading time. Family reading time, where we actually get together as a family, and it shows all four of us, or 4 kids and the adult, actually reading, and the kids interacting, the kids asking, well, what does this mean? And what does that mean? Long story short, we are wanting this channel to actually reach little kids who don't have somebody to read a book to them, and they're seeing interaction of other kids who are asking questions. It's going to be great. Now, as this YouTube channel grows, we will then be able to spin off and have one of our kids create their own YouTube channel. Let's say they love drones, and they, hey, I have a drone video. Let me show the drone, and then boom, and then they can point them over there. Long story short, create things that you can then pass them down to your kids. Now, in everything, as you're building your generational wealth, be thinking of how this can be passed down. And I want to continue to give you so much great information. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I want to keep giving you so many great things on how to help your kids and invest in real estate and quit that JOB. And watch this video right here. I'll see you guys next time.